Welcome back to the Omni in Atlanta. Let's take a look at tonight's GP Gold starting lineups. First for the visiting Orlando Magic, who come in with a record of 10-9. One new addition to their starting lineup recently, Tom Tolbert, formerly with the Golden State Warriors out of Arizona, starting at one of the forward spots. Their head coach, Matt Gukas, he is going for his 200th career coaching victory in the NBA tonight. And for the Atlanta Hawks, with Dominique Wilkins on the shelf, here's the way they line up tonight. Stacey Augmon moves to a forward spot, joining Kevin Willis and John Koncak up front, with Travis Mays in the starting backcourt now, along with Mookie Blaylock. Bob Weiss has his team right at 500 now. 11 wins, 11 losses. They've lost their last 2 games here at the Omni, so he'd like to see a good effort from his club tonight in front of the home folks. Kevin Willis takes over the leading scorer position on this Atlanta team in Dominique's absence, and his job tonight to try to stop this man. Number 11 in the league in scoring, number 2 in the league in rebounding, number 2 in the league in block shots, and he's only 20 years old. Our officials tonight, Dick Pavetta, Lee Jones, and Woody Mayfield. And we are just about set to tip it off here at the Omni. The fans continue to stream in. It's been quite a day of basketball here at the Omni today, with a big doubleheader over at or here in Atlanta today, big doubleheader over at the Dome right next door, college basketball, featuring Georgia and Georgia Tech and Louisville and UCLA. And now tonight, the Magic and the Hawks. Skiles picked up by Blaylock. And it comes to Shaquille O'Neal. They're going to go to him right away. Let him operate on Koncak, and he made that look easy.
Well, everybody talks about the fact that when he gets down low, you don't realize how strong he is until you actually guard him.
Now Willis trying to work on O'Neal. Unable to. Comes up short, but gets the ball right back. Wouldn't go for him that time either. Rebound comes off to Scott Skiles. Keep in mind, when you're looking at Shaquille O'Neal, not only is he 7 feet tall, he weighs 300 pounds. A combination of strength and quickness, very seldom seen in this league.
Well, when I looked at him in shoot-around, he didn't look 6'7" because he's so well muscled. And he didn't look 300 pounds either.
And he makes his impact felt in the defensive end with that turnaround. He has the first 4 points of the game, and already the Omni crowd is oohing and eyeing over Shaquille.
Well, that's the thing that they say he has. He has explosiveness like Charles Barkley. He doesn't need to gather to get up and dunk the ball. He just explodes up and does it.
Open along the baseline, Travis Mays. And Travis Mays, averaging 9 points a game, gets the Hawks on the board. It's a 4-2 Orlando lead. And away from the ball, we have a whistle. The basket is tied up in the rim.
Here's that explosiveness I was talking about. See, he kind of bobbled the ball, but didn't need to gather, didn't need to bring the ball down, just kind of exploded into the air and dunked it.
Okay, we've got the basket straightened out now. And set to resume Orlando's ball with 16 left in the shot clock. Skiles draws the double team. Mookie Blaylock had a big night defensively last night with 5 steals. He also scored 20 points and had 9 assists. And Travis Mays almost stole that one. They just did beat the clock. Willis pulls away the rebound.
Well, when this Atlanta Hawk team decides it wants to play defense, it's pretty good.
I thought that was the key to the win over Miami on the road last night. There was one little lapse. They had a little trouble handling full court pressure at one point in the game. Let a big lead dwindle, but it really was the defense that won it for them last night.
Well, full court presses have given them problems all year. Boston gave them problems. Even Dallas gave them problems. But the thing that bothers them most is their inconsistency. You don't know what you're going to get on a nightly basis. Until they can solve that problem, they're not going to be able to solve their winning problem.
Nick Anderson fouled Travis Mays. First trip to the free throw line. And he makes them both to tie it up. Travis has the 4 Atlanta points. Shaquille has the 4 Orlando points. Scott Skiles takes it into the paint. Nowhere to go with it. Brings it back outside to Scott. Into Shaquille. Lost the ball on the way up. So he is human after all.
Well, I don't think anyone's going to say he has bad hands, but he did bobble that one. Matty Gukas was telling me that, you know, he has a tendency to go into him too much. Every play is designed to end up going into Shaquille O'Neal or go into him on the primary look.
The jump hook by Kevin Willis drops for him, his first 2 of the night. The Hawks have their first lead of the night.
See, that's much like the Los Angeles Lakers used to do with the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Whatever they ran, the last thing they did was throw it in at the cap, and he'd come up with a bucket for him.
Tolbert takes it through the lane, puts it in, and drew the foul. John Koncak committing his first.
Let's take a look at Kevin Willis inside. Tolbert tried to draw the offensive foul, no go. Nice easy basket. Kevin has to kind of control himself. Last year when Dominique was out, he went outside and thought he was a 6'2" guard and started shooting threes and jump shots. He's still got to play the game that's made them fairly successful when they've been successful this year. Certainly against teams like Chicago, when they beat them twice over at the stadium and then here, but then they falter against lesser opponents.
Tolbert completes the 3-point play, and the Magic have the lead by 1 in the opening minutes of quarter number 1. They come down low to Willis again. He'll take the jumper and nail the jumper. Willis with 4 in this first quarter. Hawks have the lead back.
See, Bobby Weiss told me that he doesn't mind Kevin shooting the facing shot. You see, that was a nice little 12-footer. That's a good shot for him.
Over to Dennis Scott. Scott with the outside jumper. His specialty, his first 2 of the night. He's averaging 20 points a game, has scored 38 at one game this year. Once again, Orlando up by 1. Now Augman will take the outside jumper. I'll tell you what, if he can develop that shot with any kind of consistency, you've got yourself a pretty good package right there.
Well, we felt all along that he's had the complete package minus the perimeter jump shot. But of late, he has not scored well. He's only scored about 30 points in his last 4 games.
Nick Anderson trying to get on track. There's O'Neal, and Shaquille puts it back for his 6th point of the night to give Orlando the lead back. Augman looking inside for Willis. Now sends it back out to Travis Mays. This will be worth 3 if it goes. Wouldn't go, and it's off out of bounds into the corner. And the ball belongs to Orlando.
Let's watch Shaquille. One of the things that all the people in the league are going to have to learn in the Atlanta Hawks tonight is that you don't leave him. You don't let him get to the offensive board. You got to play him kind of like you play Charles Barkley. You never help off of him. You always keep a body on him.
Out it comes to Scott. Scott back to Shaquille for 2 more, and he does it with authority.
That's exactly what I was talking about. If Koncak moves off of Shaquille O'Neal to help out, he's just going to clean up every miss and put him back in and shoot an incredibly high percentage.
Shaquille with 8 of Orlando's 13 points in this first quarter and 4 rebounds. Travis Mays into Kevin Willis, and Willis drew the foul on the way up. Tom Tolbert got him.
Now let's watch. See, there's the penetration. You'll watch Koncak comes over, leaves O'Neal all alone inside, and that's something you've got to avoid. You must get your help from the perimeter or assign the help from somewhere else. You can't help off of Shaquille O'Neal.
Willis, who has 4 points tonight, his first trip to the free throw line. Only hitting 67% from the line this year. Kevin, one of 7 Hawks in double figures last night, and that's what Bob Weiss says it takes to win in Dominique's absence. They don't have a guy really that's capable of going out there and scoring 40 like Dominique can in any given night. You've got to get good ball distribution. You've got to get good scoring distribution. Hawks down by 1 with 7 minutes to go in the first quarter. A 3-point effort by Nick Anderson. He drains it.
Well, that's a tough situation. That's an ominous set when you have Shaquille inside and you decide to double off the passer, and the passer's a pretty good shooter like Nick Anderson or Dennis Scott.
And Stacey Augman hits his 2nd jumper of the first quarter. He has 4 points. It's a 2-point Orlando lead. Shaquille draws the double team, finds Scott Skiles open, and Skiles has a clear path to the basket. Good defense there by John Koncak. Augman off to Mookie Blaylock. Skiles the rebound. The Shaq draws the crowd. Still got the shot away. Koncak the rebound for Atlanta, off to Mookie. A rapid pace for both clubs in this first quarter. Willis backing in against the Shaq. Tolbert the rebound for the Magic. Again, the double team. Again, Skiles open. This time he'll take and hit the three-pointer.
See, when you're going to bring a guard down the size of Mookie Blaylock to double team, you might as well not even bring him because he's not going to bother Shaquille O'Neal.
It's a 5-point Orlando lead with 5:46 remaining in this first quarter. And a timeout's going to be called here by Atlanta.
Let's take a look at John Koncak here. He's been much more active as of late. Had a terrific game against Miami. Watch him come here and get a block.
TBS awards the best of the best. The best Christmas wish.
I want an official Red Ryder Cup and Action 2-inch range ball air rifle.
The best response.
No. Shoot your eye out.
The best dare.
I triple dog dare you.
The best revenge. The best Santa. The best Christmas dinner. And finally, the best movie of the season, A Christmas Story. 10:35 Eastern, Sunday on TBS.
If you want a beer that drinks easy like a light and has real draft taste, why not make a change for the better? Refreshingly different, Bud Dry. Bud Dry is one beer that drinks easy like a light and has real draft taste. So why not come around to something refreshingly different? Try Bud Dry.
At Eagle, we're well aware of what kind of cars the general public wants. And for 1993, we're happy to announce that once again, we didn't build them. Introducing the new Eagle Vision, the new Eagle Summit, and Eagle Talon. Cars specifically designed for performance enthusiasts, because appealing to the masses has never appealed to us. Eagle, not intended for the general public.
Welcome back to the Omni. The Hawks down by 5:43 to go in the first quarter, and there are very, very few rookies who have had this kind of an initial impact in the NBA. Look at where Shaquille O'Neal ranks in all of those categories.
Well, not only that, Pete, he makes his teammates better. Scott Skiles last year shot 41%. This year he's shooting 51. Dennis Scott last year shot 40. He's up to 45. Jeff Turner last year shot 45% from the field. This year he leads the league in field goal percentage.
Yeah,
Talk
shooting
about
at
impact.
61%. Now the Hawks have the ball with 5:40 to go in this first quarter as play resumes. 19-14 Orlando leading it. The Hawks turn the ball over. Second turnover for Atlanta here in the first quarter. And Skiles will walk it down for Orlando. Scott Skiles having a good year. He is fourth in the league in assists, averaging just over 9 assists tonight.
And he's been on a tear of late. He's been averaging double figures in his last 5 games.
And an illegal defense call against Atlanta.
I had Scott Skiles when I was at Indiana, and he's a delight to coach. He just gives you everything he has. He's a tremendous competitor. He understands the game. He sees the floor, and he gives you all he has.
With no Shaquille O'Neal last year and with Dennis Scott injured much of the year, Skiles had to concentrate a little more on his scoring, but his assists coming back up this year. Willis pulls down the missed shot by Shaquille. That's 3 boards in this first quarter for Kevin Willis. And again, Willis is going to go to work on O'Neal. A lot of teams, when they play Shaquille O'Neal, feel he is somewhat vulnerable to fouls, and they'll go right after him early.
I find that interesting because he's only fouled out of 2 games, and no other player on the Orlando Magic has fouled out.
2 more for Dennis Scott. He has 4 in the first quarter, and the lead up to 7 now for Orlando with 4.5 minutes to go, first quarter. Travis Mays, that's a 2-pointer. If it goes, it does. And Travis Mays is hit for 6 in this first quarter.
Delayed game warning has been charged to the Atlanta Hawks.
Hawks have been given a delay of game warning. And Orlando will bring it down up by 5. Scott coming around the picks. Wouldn't go for him. Rebound goes over the glass, and it'll be turned over to Atlanta.
You know, talk about a scary statistic. Last year, Stanley Roberts led the Orlando Magic with 83 blocks. This year, Shaquille O'Neal already has 76.
Yeah, he's averaging right at 4 block shots a game. Well, we're seeing some of the ball movement Weiss has been looking for. But the Hawks are going to have to hurry now, down to 3 seconds left in the shot clock. Travis Mays had to force that shot to beat the 24-second clock. He never did.
24-second violation.
A 24-second violation. 1 week from tonight, we'll be back with you from the Target Center in Minnesota as Christian Laettner and the Minnesota Timberwolves play host to the Atlanta Hawks. 8:05 Eastern Time right here on TBS next Saturday.
Well, Jack McCluskey told me that he's really happy with Christian Laettner, not just the fact that he's scoring, shooting over 50% from the floor, but he's averaging 8.5 rebounds.
3.5 minutes to go here in the first. A 5-point lead. Boy, he is something, isn't he?
They're playing him straight up inside with John Koncak.
He is something. 10 points in the first quarter for Shaquille O'Neal. And a 7-point lead for the Orlando Magic. There's the squared up jumper by Kevin Willis. That time he came up short. The rebound tipped by Koncak out of bounds. Orlando gets it back. And they have a chance now to open up a 9-point lead. Shaquille isolates against Koncak. The pump fake, the shot short, rebound tipped by Tolbert, but out to Stacey Augmon. And he runs into Scott Skiles, who was trying for the steal at midcourt. And Skiles will be called for his first.
Let's take a look at Shaquille. You see, he faced, but he likes to come in, back you in, get close to the basket, and it's an easy basket.
He always comes out at night. He always wears black. They say he's a vampire. We'll get proof. Check the equipment.
Only Freedom Zooms have Minolta's unique quad element system for the sharpest pictures possible.
He's got it!
And when you don't want to get near the picture, Freedom 70C zooms the picture to you.
He's not a vampire. He's an umpire.
Surprise your family with the best. Season's greetings from Minolta.
At Eagle, we're well aware of what kind of cars the general public wants. And for 1993, we're happy to announce that once again, we didn't build them. Introducing the new Eagle Vision, the new Eagle Summit, and Eagle Talent. Cars specifically designed for performance enthusiasts, because appealing to the masses has never appealed to us. Eagle, not intended for the general public.
Introducing the Dremel Moto Tool. You cut, we cut. You sharpen, we sharpen. You polish, we polish. You drill, we drill. You clean, we clean. You sand, we sand. You grind, we grind. You hammer. Did I mention we cut? The Dremel Moto Tool, with more than 150 available accessories. Why settle for some 2-bit Christmas gift?
Magic leading Atlanta 23-16, 2:53 to go first quarter. I want to remind you on New Year's Eve, TBS Sports presents the Outback Steakhouse Gator Bowl. It'll be the Florida Gators and the NC State Wolfpack from Jacksonville. Gary Bender, Pat Hayden will have all the action. That begins at 6 o'clock Eastern Time on New Year's Eve. And as we told you, Georgia Tech played right next door at the Dome this afternoon. Bobby Crimmins out to visit with Dennis Scott, Dwayne Farrell, a couple of his former players.
You know, Bobby Crimmins has been at Georgia Tech 12+ years, and every time you look at him, he still looks like a little kid, doesn't he? But he's got that silver hair.
Got a big win this afternoon.
That was a great
with
shot.
The buzzer beater. Travis Mays underneath to Adam Keefe, who has checked in. Keefe had it blocked by Shaquille. Scott Skiles taking it all the way through, then dishing outside to Tom Tolbert. His jumper short, rebound tipped, but controlled by Atlanta's Travis Mays.
I think one of the
still
things,
down by 7.
I think one of the things Atlanta's going to have to do is to put the ball on the basket, go ahead and take it inside and challenge. They can't just settle for these jump shots. You see, this is the kind of penetration that's helpful, because now you can kick off to a big man. Now they got that one blocked, but I think they're still going to have to take it in and challenge like that.
Closing in on the 2-minute mark in this first quarter, the Magic up 23-16. Atlanta shooting just 38% from the field in this first quarter. There's a Magic turnover. Mookie Blaylock and Adam Keefe running the court. It'll be Mookie Blaylock taking it all the way in for two. Mookie's first two of the night.
What a wonderful addition he's been to the Atlanta Hawks. The point guard they've been looking for, playing the best basketball of his life.
Now Skiles from three-point territory. Adam Keefe pulls away the rebound off to Mookie. Bob Weiss really pleased with the way Mookie has developed since coming over from New Jersey.
Mookie seems to have gotten better in the month of December. He's averaging 8.1 assists and only turning it over 1.8.
And hustled for the rebound in the corner on that particular occasion. Now Dwayne Farrell straddling the three-point line. Gets his first two of the night. Farrell averaging 9 points a game, coming off the bench. And the Hawks have pulled back to within 3, closing in on the 1-minute mark.
Got a mismatch inside. So you're helping off Shaquille again, but Adam Keefe did a nice job of rotating down.
And that's 6 points for Dennis Scott. The lead back up to 5 for the Magic. You see the time left in quarter number 1. Farrell guarded by former teammate at Georgia Tech, Dennis Scott. And Scott commits the foul, his first. Team's fourth. Pete Van Weer and Dick Forsythe with you from the Omni in Atlanta. The Orlando Magic up 25-20 with about 43.5 seconds remaining in this first quarter. And at the line, Dwayne Farrell.
Brian Hill, the assistant coach, was telling me that Nick Anderson has some problems focusing in defensively, and it's been a factor in their losing streak when they lost the 5 in a row. They feel that he's back now defending the way they need him to for them to be successful. They have not been a successful team in the month of December in the history of this franchise.
That's a much different team this year than it has been, and much easier for Matt Guokas to look forward to coaching this team night after night. You don't realize how tough it is. Well, you do. To lose 55 or 60 games a year as a head coach. That's an awfully tough grind to go through with an expansion team. Matty Guokas had to go through all that. Blocked by Farrell there. Comes down to Mookie. Only man back is Skiles. Hurrying down court is Anderson, and Anderson may have altered that shot. Snoop Graham with a steal. He had 5 steals against the Heat last night.
See, when a teammate goes in to shoot a layup, you got to have somebody 6'5" or better following that shot in case it lifts off.
Now the Hawks will play for the final shot in this first quarter. They're trailing by 3. Almost stolen by Dennis Scott. Into Adam Keefe. He could not control the pass, and the Hawks turn the ball back over to Orlando with still 2 seconds to go in the quarter. Jeff Turner was checked in for Tolbert. Gets it into Dennis Scott. He'll launch trying to beat the buzzer and comes up short as the horn sounds, ending quarter number 1. And so far it's been the Shaquille O'Neal show. He has scored 10 in quarter number 1. Orlando leads it by 3.
Everybody hates to eat and run. We'd rather take it slow. But the way this life is going, gotta grab your food and go. And with all that running round, catches up with you at last. Get yourself some Alka-Seltzer and you'll feel better fast.
For acid indigestion or heartburn with headache, nothing's faster or more effective than Alka-Seltzer.
Get yourself some Alka-Seltzer and you'll feel better fast.
Introducing Levi's loose-fitting jeans. A loose interpretation of the original.
Doing it yourself can save you a lot of money if you get it right the first time. Make sure you do. Ask Ace.
Stock up on Ever-Ready Energizer batteries with a $1.25 rebate, and the Fiskars 3-piece scissor set is only $9.99.
Ace Best Buy is another reason Ace is the place for you.
What was it like to compose with Mozart? Pick up the Mozart Musical Biography CDI and capture the experience on your television with the Philips Imagination Machine.
Imagine for a moment a performance car. One with a 4-cam, 32-valve, 250 horsepower V8. Any names come to mind?
When you're short-handed, you got to do the little things because you can't afford to throw away opportunities. Watch what happens. Atlanta's going to end up getting the steal here, or on the block. They're going to get a breakaway. Mookie's going to come down and be all alone on this challenge layup. As he goes in to take the layup, look how his teammates just watched. Nobody covers in case it lips off, and it does lip off, and no second chance.
Behind the contact pick, Farrell hits the jumper. Dwayne is hit for 6 points in this first half, and the Hawks are back to within 1. In the first quarter, Orlando shot 48%. Hawks shot 40% from the field. Jeff Turner is shooting at a 61% clip, which leads the NBA. Outside Laterial Green. Now Turner will take the outside jumper. He was straddling the line. That's a 2-pointer.
The NBA's leading field goal percentage shooter, Jeff Turner, 61%, knocks down an easy open warm-up jump shot.
Farrell again. Inside to Snoop Graham. Graham had nowhere to go with that one. Orlando controls the rebound off to Laterial Green, rookie out of Georgia. Orlando very impressed with him as well as Shaquille.
Well, Nick Anderson was telling me he's got a 42-inch vertical, and they really like this young man. The only thing he has to do is adjust to playing pure point guard.
Rebound Adam Keefe. Off to Moreland Wiley, who's checked in at the point for Atlanta. It's Wiley, Graham, Koncak, Keefe, and Farrell in the court now for the Hawks. Koncak will take the 15-footer. Donald Royal pulls away the rebound for Orlando. Back outside of Laterial Green. You see his leaping ability there, how high in the air he gets before releasing that jumper, but it was a little wide right. Koncak the rebound off to Wiley. 3 boards in the first half for John Koncak. Hawks down by 3. Farrell's had the hot hand for Atlanta since coming off the bench. That one wouldn't go for him, though. Turner the rebound for Orlando.
Well, Farrell was really off balance on that shot.
And Nick Anderson makes some pay on the other end. He has 5 points, and that lead back up to 5 for the Magic.
So you just saw Nick Anderson shoot a rhythm balance jumper. That goes down easily. We know Dwayne Farrell is a wonderful shooter, but he's got to get on balance and select better.
Snoop Graham way off the mark with that effort. And the ball goes back to Orlando. Steve Kerr and Greg Kite check in for Orlando. Nick Anderson and Shaquille O'Neal sit down.
See, we're talking about Orlando. We're talking about the Shaquille show. But, I mean, Atlanta's right in the game, and they've got to continue to move the basketball. The last couple of trips, 1 pass, 1 shot.
Inbounded to Laterial Green. Picked up by Adam Keefe now. Jeff Turner over Kevin Willis. Adam Keefe pulls down another rebound for Atlanta. He has 4 boards in the first half. Takes it all the way to almost to the baseline, back outside of Wiley. Looping it down to Willis. He has Kite to work out along the baseline. Back outside Graham. 5 left in the shot clock. Snoop Graham's turnaround jumper hits the front rim and falls for him.
Ah, pretty rhythm shot. See how he got a little rhythm, started rocking, getting in the cradle there. Helped him get the shot down. Cried and fell.
Magic up by 3. A near steal by Moreland Wiley, who's trying to bother Laterial Green. The open jumper hit by Donald Royal, his first 2. And that lead back up to 5 for the Magic. It's been seesawing between a 3 and a 5-point lead. Operating along the baseline, Keefe. Kite altered that shot. And the loose ball picked up by Kite and turned over to Green. Green had it stolen right back by Kevin Willis. Willis lost the dribble as he tried to go to the paint. That's 5 Atlanta turnovers. Steve Kerr will bring it down for the Magic. Recently acquired from Cleveland. Orlando releasing Chris Corchiani when they acquired Kerr. Tipped from behind by Adam Keefe. And there'll only be 8 seconds remaining on the shot clock when Orlando puts it back in play.
I would make Laterio Green hit a jump shot. I'd back off of him and say, okay, let me see you hit a jump shot. I wouldn't double team him. I wouldn't worry about speed mismatches. I'd just get back into the paint and say, shoot it.
Instead, it'll be Jeff Turner over Keefe. Wouldn't go, and Adam pulls away the rebound. 31-26. Pace of this game has changed since the opening minutes. It was a racehorse pace early up and down the court. Now we're seeing a lot more half-court play by both sides. Burrell in the paint. Again, Kite altered the shot. That's a couple of times he's done that since checking into the game.
Well, I think Greg Kite is a very handy basketball player. He sets great picks. He's a blue-collar worker. There he shows that he can get up and block a shot as well. Interesting on the trade to Houston, it was nullified because of a heart murmur that Greg Kite had, and he failed the physical.
But on the medication, no problem at all with that particular situation.
Yeah, that's what's interesting, because he couldn't play for Houston, failed the physical, but he ends up playing for Orlando because he got it under control with medication. Donald Royal's a very good driver. He made a living when he was with the Minnesota Timberwolves on just this kind of play.
Sunday night, Angie Dickinson is looking for the perfect man to commit the perfect crime. And Burt Reynolds is the one man crazy enough to pull it off. Sam Whiskey. 7 Eastern Sunday night on TBS.
2-on-2 Jam City, and I'm the mayor.
Yo, fellas, how about a game of hoops? Hey, what? With you? No, with your mama. Mom?
This guy was good, but he was all dribble.
Say what? Come on, man.
Man, he deserved one of these.
Franchise, want to call Bud? Solid.
So it's Sunday morning. You've read the sports section twice, but kickoff time is hours away. Turn to NFL Preview and run down the day's top action. NFL Preview, Sunday mornings at 11:30 on CNN.
Road noise has to go through a lot to get into the cabin of a Lexus ES 300. That's why it rarely makes the trip.
Welcome back to the Omni. 7:15 to go in the first half, and the pace of this one has slowed down considerably. Orlando 33, Atlanta 26. Neither team has scored much of anything here in this second quarter. Orlando's only scored 8 points. The Hawks have only scored 4.
Well, sometimes the shooting percentages tell the story. Orlando shot 48% to 40 for Atlanta, in the end of the first quarter. Right now in the game, it's 53% to 25. Orlando has not been a good team in December. In fact, they have a horrendous December one-loss record, and 8-45 collectively. They have 5 games left this month. They have a chance to have a winning record in the month of December, but they'd have to win all 5 of those to do that.
Their schedule turns for them a little bit, too. They've got a lot of home games coming up for the remainder of this month and even the first 2-3 weeks of January. No more than a 1-game trip in that 3 or 4 week span. 34-26, Magic up by 8, closing into the 7-minute mark here in quarter number 2. Willis working on Kite. He'll take the jumper over Greg Kite, a little strong with it. The putback attempt by Snoop Graham, and he drew the foul. Steve Kerr committing the foul. I want to remind you, at the conclusion of tonight's game, Dick and I will be selecting the Budweiser Player of the Game. Snoop Graham at the line, averaging 8.5 points a game.
See, Bobby Wise has some options right now, Pete. He's got some matchups out there that are favorable. Steve Kerr is guarding Snoop Graham. I mean, Snoop Graham's a very good post-up player. So if Kevin Willis is not producing, that's another place he can go to get a basket.
One thing Bobby does not want to see in this game is the Hawks trying to go to Kevin Willis for everything. He likes Kevin Willis to be a part of the blend. He doesn't want Kevin to be the go-to guy all the time. He likes him. He likes that ball movement, which we talked about earlier.
Well, it's important because Kevin has a tendency to try to do too much when Meek is not in the game.
And Kevin only 2 for 8 from the field. He drew the foul that time from Greg Kite.
Well, let's look at this matchup inside. Greg Kite is a very strong player. Kevin Willis made a nice little drop step move to the baseline. Greg Kite had no choice but to foul him.
So Willis at the line. He has 6 points. He is 2 for 2 from the free throw line. In fact, nobody on either side's missed a free throw yet tonight. And normally when we say that, someone misses. There you see Dominique Wilkins. Also Blair Rasmussen not dressed tonight, still having problems with his back. And Dominique a little more optimistic about that broken bone in his right hand than he was when he first
Pete, you and I were
went to the doctor.
Yeah, and we were surprised that he thinks he can get back by January 5th. But hey, we should have learned our lesson. You know, he had a very serious Achilles tendon injury, and he made a miraculous comeback off of that. I expect that he will get back sooner than expected.
Now, they were talking 4-6 weeks at first. Oh, Steve Kerr drains a 3, and it is the third three-point basket hit by an Orlando guard in this game, and the lead up to 8 now. Again, they go inside to Willis, and this time we're going to get the offensive foul called.
You got to avoid these mano-a-mano confrontations when they become 1 against 3, 1 against 4. He had half the Chinese army over there shifting over to guard Kevin Willis, and he still tried to muscle the ball up. He's got to find an open man.
Steve Kerr and Scott Skiles now the backcourt for Orlando. Skiles, as Willis and Wiley converged on him. It was tipped by Atlanta, still belongs to Orlando. 13 seconds left in the shot clock. Stacey Augmon back in the Atlanta lineup, joining Farrell, Graham, Willis, and Wiley. Steve Kerr taking it in the paint, lost it in there, looking for a whistle against Atlanta, didn't get it. The loose ball picked up by Donald Royal, a 24-second violation. And the ball goes back to Atlanta.
Well, Steve Kerr made a hard drive. Steve Kerr made a very hard drive down the lane, went to his left, good head and shoulder fake to the right, split the seam there, thought that he got hit, but actually the ball forced him to fall off balance, and I think he hurt his hamstring a little bit, but it looks like he's okay. No, Steve Kerr's a guy, Pete, that is going to give this Orlando Magic team even more spacing than they already have. You know, if I were to ask you which team shoots more threes, the Magic or the Atlanta Hawks, I think you might have a tendency to think Orlando does, but actually Atlanta has taken about 50 more threes than the Magic. Of course, Steve Kerr has just joined them, and he's only taken 10 threes this year.
Royal sits down. Scott checks back in for Orlando. Mookie Blaylock back in, replacing Moreland Wiley for Atlanta. Stacey Augmon making 1 of 2. And he now has 5 points on the night. Still a 7-point Orlando lead. Closing in on the 5-minute mark here in this first half. Skiles taking it along the face. Nice move, Scott Skiles. He has 5 points. And it's 39-30, Orlando by 9. Down low to Kevin. Willis again will work on Kite. Hawks continue to go to this matchup with Willis against Kite. This time Willis will have a chance for a 3-point play as Kite got him again.
Well, Scott Skiles, the old ex-Michigan Stater, has a variety of moves. Takes a hit, sweeps the left hand off, puts a lot of English on, and gets it to kiss and fall. Kevin Willis down, battling Greg Kite. No double team, single coverage. Now he gets some rhythm on that shot. You know, he's much better if he just makes his move quickly and doesn't try to do the WCW down there.
And here's Travis Mays back in the lineup for the Hawks. 4:51 to go in the first half. 39-32. Willis can make it a 6-point Magic lead if he can complete the 3-point play. He does. Hawks are now 11 of 13 from the free throw line. Orlando only been on the line twice tonight, and they're 2 for 2. Kerr looking inside, finds Kite back outside. Scott for 3. Dennis Scott's first 3 of the night. He's hitting 48% from three-point land. That's 4th in the league right now, and it's 42-33. And Shaquille is getting ready to check back in, and you know what? Orlando has added to their lead with Shaquille O'Neal on the bench.
Well, what's happened is Atlanta has gotten very stodgy in what they're doing offensively. I think Bobby felt with this, what he was consider his second unit in there, that maybe he could go through Kevin and make up the difference, but it didn't work. It kind of backfired. Everybody else kind of stood around, and Kevin really wasn't able to get the job done offensively.
Inside it comes to Scott. Jumper over Willis off the glass and falls for him. And Dennis Scott now is hit for 11 in this first half. 44-33. The Magic up by 11 with 4 minutes remaining in quarter number 2. Blaylock over Skiles. Nobody can get a hot hand for Atlanta. And the Shaq is back.
The Shaq is back. You know what's really interesting about watching him for the first time in person? He is so efficient. Very few superfluous moves. Efficiency in the way he moves his body. Watch this block. It does it so effortlessly. Easy rise.
Inside it comes Travis Mays. Nice move to the bucket. Gives Mays his 8th point.
I really think they should challenge the basket a lot more than they're doing. I hope that Travis Mays feels that what he just did can be repeated. Not only that, you're going to get some kickoff baskets because Shaquille loves to come out and challenge.
To back up what we talked about a moment ago with Shaquille on the floor, counting that 3-pointer by Dennis Scott, which makes it a 12-point lead. With Shaquille on the floor, Orlando has outscored Atlanta by 6. With Shaquille off the floor, Orlando has outscored Atlanta by 6. So the Hawks were unable to do anything when Shaquille got that breather to get themselves back in it. In fact, they fell further back. And the turnover comes right back to Orlando. Over to Skiles. Closing in on the 3-minute mark in the second quarter. Turner over Koncak. And it's getting a little ugly now for Atlanta. Turner is hit for 4 points. It is 49-35. Orlando's biggest lead of the night, 14 points with 2:58 remaining in the half.
The Hawks on TBS is brought to you by Lexus Luxury Automobiles, including the newly redesigned 1993 LS400.
Jonesy? Uh-huh. What are you doing out there?
Hiding. Huh? Mr. Jenkins says the package I sent him didn't get there. He's calling every 5 minutes to yell at me.
It's probably in his mailroom. Just call Federal Express. They'll tell you when it got there and who signed for it so Jenkins can yell at him instead.
All I got to do is call Federal Express? Great.
Only Federal Express can confirm delivery in seconds. Other companies can take days.
What are you doing back there?
I didn't use Federal Express.
Next time, use Federal Express.
Some gifts are appreciated even before they're given. Vice Grip Tools, a great gift at a great price. A raindrop may reach the 1993 Lexus LS400. Getting inside is another matter. An improved side rail weather stripping channels more water away from open doors and windows. So while you make your journey in comfort, the raindrop makes its in vain. The 1993 LS400. The pursuit continues.
Welcome back to the Omni. It is 49-35 Orlando.
You know, Kevin Willis makes a tremendous second effort here. He comes down the court and getting back in transition. Nice steal. But watch, he complicates matters by trying to be a guard, goes into a difficult spin dribble, gives up the possession that he got for his team. The frustration level for Bobby Weiss at that point has reached its apex. 20-second timeout, turned into a full. Now they've got to try to regroup.
And you can see the Hawks simply not shooting the ball well, only 29% in the second quarter. Some of the individual numbers, Willis is just 3 for 9 from the field. Mookie Blaylock 1 for 5. Travis Mays 3 for 8. Hawks simply unable to find a hot hand at the moment. And Willis works on O'Neal now.
See, there's a good example. He must have held the ball 7 or 8 seconds there. They end up with a three. The three goes down. That's a tough way to win a basketball game.
Mookie hitting, by the way, 45% from three-point land this year as his first one of the night. He has 5 points tonight. Still, though, it's 49-38. And Dennis Scott having a good first half. He has 10 points in the quarter, 16 points in the half.
Well, if I read my scouting report and I saw Dennis Scott was shooting 48% from threes, I would be up in his chest all night.
Ogman over Scott. Shaquille on the scene again.
That's his third block. He's getting better. Watch out. 3.3 blocks in the month of November. In the month of December, 5 blocks a game.
And boy, his court awareness, he saw that shot coming 3 steps away. Began to move before the shot was ever released. Now under 2 minutes to go in the half. Ogman losing the ball, and Dennis Scott, Orlando on the run. Skiles took it into a crowd, brings it back outside. Skiles again runs into traffic. Short, the rebound pulled away by Mookie Blaylock with 1:35 to go in the half. 51-38. A 13-point Orlando lead. Hawks have scored only 16 points in the second quarter. And Stacey Ogman can't find it either. A rebound for Skiles. All kinds of time for Scott, but that three wouldn't fall. Rebound Koncak. He's got Ogman open. Found him.
There he is. Maybe that'll wake him up. He's got to take the challenge defensively on Dennis Scott. He's got to get up into his chest, and he's got to deny him, take his scoring opportunities away, make him put the ball on the floor. Not something Scott does very often.
Orlando by 11 now, under a minute to go in the half. Oh, look at the feed by Shaquille O'Neal.
I can pass out of double teams. That's the one thing they say he doesn't do real well. He has turned the ball over quite a few times. He leads his team in turnovers.
6 points now for Turner. 53-40. Stacey Ogman trying to get something going. And another Orlando rebound. Doing a good job on the boards tonight. Turner pulled away that one. Skiles got around Willis. Scott along the baseline. Look at the spin on that shot.
Dennis Scott walked by or ran by, looked up in the crowd. Looks like his mom was up there or something. He gave her a little wink. Said, I got a little extra spin on that one.
He is 8 for 12 from the field, including 2 3-pointers. Scott with 18 points in the first half. Orlando now up by 15. And the Hawks will play for a final shot here in quarter number 2. Now Shaquille comes out in a mismatch with Mookie Blaylock. He got in the way of that pass. Boy, he's something.
Well, normally when you get a speed mismatch like that, the smaller guard tries to take the bigger man to the basket, but Blaylock couldn't get around O'Neal.
On our halftime report, Craig Sager will have all the scores and highlights, and Dominique Wilkins will talk about the injury. And the news might not be as bad as first feared. They first said 4 to 6 weeks. Now Dominique's talking about being back as early as January 5th.
That would be a nice Christmas present for the Hawks. The Hawks really need to find themselves, and this team that's out there and the guys that are on the bench are going to have to really pull together, and so that they don't get too far below the 500 mark.
Mookie trying to beat the buzzer. Does with a three-point basket. So there's a little bit of an upturn in the Hawks' fortunes as the half comes to an end. 55-43 our score, though. The Orlando Magic leading it by 12.
Well, Mookie Blaylock's been a wonderful addition to the Atlanta Hawks. He's a player that's really given them the leadership at the point that they really wanted. But they also did not know that this man could shoot threes. He said he worked on it all summer, and he's leading the Atlanta Hawks in three-point shooting.
He finishes the first half with 8 points, but the Hawks are down by 12 at halftime. And let's go to our Atlanta studios now. Here's Craig Sager.
Well, thanks, Pete. That, of course, despite the three-pointer by Mookie Blaylock. In the next 3 games, the Hawks face the top 3 picks in last June's draft. A draft that could top 84 is the best ever. At halftime, pilots of the second pick, Alonzo Mourning of Charlotte. 10 years ago, Dominique Wilkins was a draft pick. Since then, he has been a human highlight film. Tonight, he's a spectator and our guest on the Reebok Halftime Report.
Responsible adults aren't supposed to have fun. Wake up. We can do whatever we want. Drive racing cars to work, play golf in our pajamas, tennis on the bus, or baseball in our mother-in-law's living room. All you need is a Game Boy. It's a personal game-playing system with over 200 puzzle, action, and sports games to choose from. Hey, fun is your reward for growing up. Start playing.
You really got to get one of these.
Game Boy by Nintendo. Have you had your fun today?
You're just in time. If you hurry to Red Lobster, you can get one of our 3 new trios. Enjoy it.
Thanks.
Like our seafood trio, sweet snow crab, shrimp scampi, and broiled fish. It's just $9.99. So good. We've also got a big new shrimp trio and a new mixed grill. 3 trios you'll love for just $9.99. So hurry in for something great. Tonight at Red Lobster.
It's not easy being a mustache, working 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, including holidays.
Uncle Bob.
And this is how you take care of it? Give your mustache a break. The Groomsman Cordless Mustache and Beard Trimmer by Wall. The Groomsman's patented trimming guide makes perfect mustache and beard trimming a snap. Ask for the Groomsman by Wall. Your mustache will thank you.
All right, gentlemen, today is the first day of basketball. All 27 or 28 guys for 12 positions.
Get it up, nice and easy.
I assume you think you can play basketball.
A coach can put you on the team. Your teammates can make you hustle. A scout can get you a scholarship, and the right school can get you on the team.
Williams.
But only the love can make you a player.
Marcus.
You got the love.
Coleman. Pugh. Thomas.
Dominique Wilkins, and they've got to understand that they've got to do it on a consistent basis and for long periods of time. Plus, they've got to dig in defensively and try to have their defense create some offense for them.
It is Mookie Blaylock, Travis Mays, Kevin Willis, John Koncak, and Stacey Augmon for Atlanta. Skiles, Scott, Tolbert, O'Neill, and Anderson for the Orlando Magic as quarter number 3 opens. Augmon inside. And the rebound pulled away by Shaquille O'Neal, his 3rd board. He also has 4 assists on the night to go along with his 3 block shots and his 10 points. Now Skiles. Switch as Willis picks him up. Outside to Scott. He's trying to pick up right where he left off in the first half. Offensive board, Tolbert back to Skiles. And Skiles makes the Hawks pay. He is hit for 7 points in the game, and Orlando's opened up a 14-point lead.
Well, Stacey Augmon did a better job of covering Dennis Scott, and he just disregarded the penetration by Scott Skiles. Skiles ends up scoring on that exchange.
The cold Atlanta shooting continues. Travis Mays now just 3 of 9 from the field. And Orlando is doing all this to Atlanta with Nick Anderson not really that much of a factor yet. He's only scored 7 points. Remember, he's averaging 21.5 points a game.
Well, with the speed that he made that move, he looks like he wants to get in on the action. And I tell you what, this young man can get his shot back to the basket or face it.
Stacey Augmon had it tipped away, has to come back outside to Koncak, and he hits the jumper. Maybe that'll get the Hawks going. First points of the second half for Atlanta.
Well, you know, if Blair Rasmussen was available and they could have him in the lineup and create a mismatch where Shaquille had to play him, Shaquille does not look like he wants to come out on the floor and play defense.
And the first whistle of quarter number 3. As the foul is called against Stacey Augmon.
Shaquille showed that he has the kind of foot speed. Remember at the end of the quarter when he guarded Mookie Blaylock and kept him from penetrating? But he seems to show a reluctance to want to come out on the floor on a perimeter jump shooter. And I think there's 2 reasons for that. 1, he's probably not that comfortable that far out. But 2, he takes away his shot blocking prowess by coming out on the floor. And I think he's been told, stay home as much as possible until we feel that we're really being hurt by anybody that you're going to guard that's shooting from the perimeter.
This is only the 4th free throw attempt by Orlando in the game. And it gives Dennis Scott 20 points. And it gives Orlando a 16-point lead. Opening minutes of quarter number 3, the Magic is gradually extending their lead. Hawks looking for a hot hand and can't find one. The miss by Willis pulled away by O'Neal. Kevin Willis now just 3 of 10 from the field.
All alone inside.
Shaq
Oh, no.
Shaq.
Oh, no. No.
No basket, they say.
Maybe the Hawks should pay attention to what Paul Westphal said. He said, when he gets that close to the basket, I'd rather foul him. Make him shoot from 15 feet rather than 1 inch.
Now Mookie Blaylock commits this foul, his first. 3rd team foul. Still not a shooting foul. They took away that last basket because of the contact foul coming before the shot. 61-45. Magic by 16. 9.5 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. Anderson trying to warm up, a little strong off the glass with that effort. Rebound finally pulled away by who? Still nobody has it. Good hustle. There's some of that hustle of Skiles you were talking about, Dick.
Absolutely love the way Scott Skiles plays.
And Dennis Scott got fouled on the way up by Stacey Augmon, who thought he got the ball there. Instead, his 2nd foul.
See, what Scott Skiles will do for you is he's going to run the fast break. If you got a dominant game where you're really doing a good job defensively and you're getting some steals, you're getting some long rebounds, he'll make great decisions on the break. He's a wonderful passer. He can score from the perimeter. He's a good outside shooter. He only has one weakness, and he's not a very strong defender. But he makes up for the fact that he's not a good defender by creating a lot of extra opportunities for his team with his scrappiness.
Well, Atlanta's going to stop the clock and talk about it one more time.
The Hawks on TBS is brought to you by GMC Truck, the strength of experience, and by
Olympic gold of U.S. Open swimming, featuring 100-meter backstroke world record holder Jeff Rouse. John Neighbor and Derek Torres will have all the action coming up next on U.S. Olympic gold. Play resuming here with Dennis Scott at the line. 20 points so far in the night.
Magic playing a very clean game. Magic starters only have 4 turnovers. Kevin Willis has 5 himself.
21 for Dennis Scott now. The lead up to 17, biggest it's been all night for the Magic. As the Hawks continue to look for someone to get hot. And they can't find that someone. Tolbert the rebound for Orlando. Underneath to Anderson. He's sandwiched between Mays and Koncak. Takes it back to the corner.
That's a very difficult matchup for Travis Mays. Nick Anderson is extremely strong. He's got great leaping ability and a nice touch inside.
They didn't get the shot off. 24-second clock violation. And with 8:39 to go in the 3rd, it'll go back to Atlanta. 62-45. Hawks have scored only 2 points in the first 3.5 minutes of this 3rd quarter. And Koncak drawing the foul from Tolbert. That's his 2nd personal. That's something Bobby Weiss would like to see a little more of. John Koncak operating inside. He feels he could be somewhat effective in there.
Well, Pete, he likes him to go inside, especially when Willis is double teamed. He likes him to make the cut to the basket. He has a tendency to spot up on the perimeter rather than bring all that size to the basket where he could be effective. But I'm very comfortable inside until that meeting of the minds occurs where what the coach wants and what you're comfortable with occurs. I don't think you're going to see John going in there very much.
And 2 missed free throws. The ball goes back to Orlando.
See, now this is what Atlanta's got to do. They've got to get out and step up their defense.
Shaq trying to create a move there. And the travel violation will give it back to Atlanta. Now Koncak will sit down, and Greg Foster, recently signed by Atlanta after being let go by the Washington Bullets. 3rd-year player out of Texas El Paso. Gets his first playing time of the night as Bobby Weiss continues to search for a combination that'll work out there. Travis Mays. There is just nobody with a hot hand or even a semi-warm hand for Atlanta. How about Mookie from 3? Nope. How about Dwayne Farrell for 2? Finally, yep. Only the second field goal of the quarter for the Hawks. 8 points for Farrell.
Well, what's happening, Pete, is that they've gone inside so much to Kevin Willis. Everyone else is kind of just standing around and not touching much leather. And you don't feel real confident when you're not touching it.
And Tolbert missing the open jumper from the top of the key. Rebound Willis off to Mookie. Blaylock to Foster. He's going to try another one. And the rebound comes off to Scott Skiles.
You know, if I'm Greg Foster, I'm going to, maybe pass the ball once or twice before I fire up that shot.
I don't think that's his best shot, that 18-foot jumper. Tolbert hits one after missing the last one. Tolbert now at 5 points, and it's now a 64-47 Orlando lead. Matching their biggest lead of the night with 7 minutes to go in the third. Inside Willis. And he gave Tolbert time to come over and double team, but a foul's going to be called on Tolbert. And there's Dominique Wilkins, who you visited with at halftime. And as he told us, both before the game and at the half, looking a little more optimistic now, hoping to be back by January 5th. If that's the case, he'll only miss about 2.5 weeks total.
You know, every time you talk to Neek, he seems to have such a wonderful attitude, and certainly he misses the game. He loves it. And I think that Craig Sager asked him a lot of interesting questions at halftime. And the one that kind of piqued my interest is to see Scott Skiles get a breakaway layup there was the one about, are you going to be disappointed about not playing on a championship team? And his response was, I try and not think about that.
It is 66-47 now, a 19-point Orlando lead.
Holiday greetings from Budweiser.
Remaining in the third, and here's the continuation of bad things for the Atlanta Hawks.
Well, bad things mean easy baskets for the Orlando Magic. Scott Skiles has the greatest play in basketball, a 1-on-0.
And Orlando continuing to stretch their lead up to 19 points now. Again, the Hawks have scored only 4 points in this third quarter, and we're almost halfway through it. After their worst shooting half, their worst shooting first half of the season. And there's a steal by Scott Skiles.
He'll give it up.
Problems continue. Nick Anderson. He's hit for 9. And the lead up to 19.
See, that's an interesting thing that you saw Scott Skiles do. I've talked about this, about the Atlanta Hawks many times when they have opportunity to give the ball up like this. It's good for team morale.
Mookie Blaylock has 10, but the Hawks still have a lot of work to do. 68-49. Orlando. Skiles, nice pass inside to Scott off the glass. He drew the foul. He will get to the free throw line.
Look at Skiles' hustle. Mr. Hustle. I'll give it up. I'll create team morale and give you an easy basket.
So at the line, Dennis Scott. Who has scored 21 points on the night. I think at 22, as the lead is up to 20 now.
Well, as we know in the NBA, 20-point leads aren't always the death knell. However, Atlanta has really got to step up their energy levels.
And we'll see him, Dwayne Farrell, if he'll convert the three-point play. He has double figures now with 10 on the night. He's 2 for 2 from the free throw line.
And what they've got to do, Pete, is they've got to try to do it collectively, to try to get some sort of unity going, trying to get the bond built that creates this force that you have from your collectivity, and then you make the other team play against that force. If it's just this individual trying to make it happen and that individual trying to make it happen, it's usually not very successful.
5.5 to go in the third quarter. Scott, good defense that time by the Hawks. Mookie Blaylock comes away with it. Across the line, passing to Farrell in the paint for Timor.
Now that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Give it up, get some energy going, get up and play defense, jump some passing lanes.
See if the Hawks can make any kind of a run. Well, Matt Duke is going to call a timeout here and try to stop what's going on.
All right, now this is what I'm talking about. Get your energy levels up. Good defense. Block the jump shot from behind. Get out and fill the lanes. Get control of the ball, advance it. Try to get something easy for your team. Unselfish. Dwayne Farrell. Energy levels pumped.
So the Hawks have pulled back. Still a long ways to go. A lot of uphill basketball to be played by Atlanta if they want to win this one. They're still trailing by 16, but the good thing is there's lots of time left. 5:07 to go still in the third quarter. 1 week from tonight, we'll be at the Target Center in Minneapolis. The Atlanta Hawks, Minnesota Timberwolves. Chuck Person, another new Timberwolf this year. Old associate of yours,
yeah,
Mr.
I love
Versace.
Chuck. I love Chuck. He was a guy that worked every single day in practice. You know, he's got the reputation of being a trash talker, and he's got the reputation of taking some difficult shots. But you know what? The guy came to practice every day, cared about winning. He tried to work on the areas where he needed work in his rebounding and his defense, and he was a delight to work with.
Okay, here's a look at the East. Take away Chicago, take away New York. Look what you have left battling for the remaining 6 playoff spots.
Well, it's like they used to accuse the Big Ten football, you know, the little 2 or the Big 2 and the little 8. So I don't know if it's the little 8, you know, because you might figure that Boston might squeeze into that 8. I don't think that Philly's going to make a move. I honestly believe that we got a situation where all these expansion teams' feet have come alive at the same time.
Yeah, I don't really think it's a case of mediocrity, and I don't really think it's a case of parity. I think we're seeing a changing of the guard here with some of these new emerging teams becoming better and some of the older established teams starting to fade a little bit, and that's what's kind of brought everybody back into the middle of the pack behind New York and Chicago.
But it's still a long way to go, and you know, teams in this league have a tendency to seek their level, and experience is going to be a big factor. The teams that have more experience and stay healthy will be there in the end. They'll create some separation in those standings.
Underneath, Tolbert was fouled by Foster. That's his first. 70-54, Orlando up by 16. They led it by 3 at the end of the first quarter, by 12 at the end of the half. They've had a lead of as much as 21 points in this third quarter.
You know, when I first came into this league and I was an assistant with Chuck Daly, one of the things he pointed out to me was, you know, Dick, it's amazing how when the lights are turned on, whether you have 9 games in 14 days in 7 cities or 4 games in 5 nights, these guys will go out and they will perform when the lights are turned on. I don't get that feeling about the Atlanta Hawks all the time. I don't get the feeling that, you know, when the lights are on, they're going to go out and crank it up. That's one of the things I think they need to do. Well, lights are on, go to work.
We've talked about it on our telecast. Dominique talked about it at halftime. The missing thing on this ball club seems to be consistency. You just don't know which team's going to show up on any given night. First 2 points of the night for Foster, but still a 15-point Orlando lead.
Well, that all starts with energy levels. You've got to come out and be excited about the fact that you're an NBA player. You're in pro sports, hottest sport worldwide. You're making a good living, and you got to get pumped up about it. There's Greg Foster trying to help out inside.
Shaquille O'Neal called for his first. Manny Gukas complaining about the call to Lee Jones. But Atlanta gets it back. And proof of the point you were making, Dick, as Farrell's turnaround jumper misses and Tolbert pulls away the rebound, as this team has beaten Chicago twice, convincing wins over Boston twice, but they've lost to Dallas. They've lost to Philadelphia at home. And they're getting put away by Orlando tonight.
And quite honestly, if you think about it, you know, they've got a pretty good bench. Now, Blair Rasmussen is hurt. But last year, Snoop Graham, Dwayne Farrell did a nice job of getting experience because of the injury to Dominique Wilkins. They played heavy minutes. They came back, and they're not satisfied with short minutes. And they've kind of been moody. Even Marlon Lively's been somewhat moody. They should, by all rights, if you look at who's sitting on that bench, they should have a bench that is considered one of the stronger benches in the league.
And as you look at our GMC truck scoreboard, a reminder, you can catch all the scores and highlights on CNN Sports tonight at 11 o'clock Eastern Time. 73-56, Orlando by 17. Foster posted up against Tolbert. He'll get a trip to the free throw line, or will he?
No, they're going to call
the offensive foul on Foster, his second.
Well, I'm not so sure. You know, you got the guy coming in here, Greg Foster, wanting to show that he can do it. Put a little bit of an elbow into the chest. Maybe it's a good call.
And the Magic get it back, leading by 17. Skiles draws a crowd in the paint, back outside to Scott. Before the ball got to Scott, a foul on Snoop Graham.
I mean, that's a registered weapon that Dennis Scott has. I mean, he shoots a three as easy as most guys shoot 10-footers.
Yeah, he's hitting 48.5% from three-point territory this year. That's fourth in the league.
He's got a hair trigger on that. I mean, it's gone. It touches palm and is gone. And deadly with a real tremendous spin on it.
And what we're seeing is what we alluded to in the open. We talked about the supporting cast around Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille was definitely the spark plug that got the Magic going tonight. But he hasn't been that much of a factor. Has not scored since the first quarter.
Well, he only played 6 minutes in the second quarter. The Orlando Magic is playing 3 games in the next 5 days. Maybe Matty Kukoc feels that he can rest him a little bit, maybe not work him so hard. They really haven't gone to him as much as they did in the first quarter. He responded great in the first quarter.
It points out the better supporting cast that this Orlando Magic team has. Shaquille getting most of the publicity, but there's a lot more to this club than just him. Snoop Graham over Scott. There has not been a hot hand from outside for the Hawks all night. 3:15 to go.
Now they're going to go to Shaquille. They got to keep him involved. Pardon me.
And Willis the rebound for the Hawks off to Mookie Blaylock. Orlando up by 19. Nearly stolen by Skiles. The loose ball still battled for, and there's that hustle of Scott Skiles.
Well, he out-scrapped every other player on the floor in a black uniform or a white uniform. Comes down and bangs home a jumper.
He has hit for 13 points tonight. He also has 7 assists. He has not turned the ball over once. And a 20-second timeout's being taken here by Atlanta.
Norelco doesn't just shave close, but incredibly close. Or merely shave in comfort, but exceptional comfort. Because inside Norelco's floating heads, our lift and cut system lifts the hair so when it's cut, it can drop below skin level without the blades touching your face. And once you've shaved that close and comfortable, you know you'll always be comfortable shaving with Norelco. Norelco, we make close comfortable.
A 21-point Orlando lead, and Dick Versace, Bobby Weiss trying all kinds of combinations. Now he's got the combination out there of Graham, Adam Keefe checking back in, Mookie Blaylock, Kevin Willis, and Dwayne Farrell.
Well, unfortunately, I see a lot of blank eyes out there. You know, you've been looking at the eyes of basketball players for 27 years like I have. You know when they're into it, you know when they're involved, you know when those eyes are fresh and they're interested. I don't see that.
Well, you're seeing it from this Orlando club. Nick Anderson has hit for 8 in the quarter, 13 on the night. 23-point Magic lead.
Well, I think what we're seeing is that Shaquille is a leader in his own quiet way. I talked about his efficiency. I talked about how it doesn't look like he's working. He's smooth in everything that he does. But I think there's some intangible things he does for this team.
Dwayne Farrell has been the one bright spark for the Hawks here in this third quarter. Shaquille O'Neal just picked up his second personal foul. Farrell with 9 points in the quarter, 15 in the game now. And a chance for a three-point play. I want to remind you, coming up on TNT on Tuesday night, more NBA basketball. The Golden State Warriors against those red-hot Phoenix Suns. Gary Bender and Hubie Brown will have that one for you.
You know, I talked about intangibles, Pete, and one of the things I think that he does so well is the way he handles himself off the court. When he was named NBA Player of the Month, his response was, "It's a great honor to win, but it's still my teammates and coaches who made it possible by helping me prepare for this first month of the season." You know, and he says, my only goal is to help this team become a winner. I mean, you got to feel good about somebody that's saying that publicly.
He says all the right things, no question about that. It's been great for the community, too. Scott along the baseline. See if he's all right. He is. And he'll go to the free throw line as Adam Keefe commits his second.
Well, let's look at this. Nice little penetration. Takes a hard fall. Popped right up there. And as Scott's kind of got a little soreness there, but he's laughing it off. He's feeling pretty good right now. He's back in Atlanta.
Yeah, you come back in front of the home folks and have a big night.
He's winking at all kinds of people up here in the stands. He's got a comfortable lead.
After your alma mater won a big game right next door earlier in the day.
And now you know he was there watching that game, too.
And your coach is here to watch you play, Bobby Crimmins, who we showed you earlier. And 25 points tonight for Dennis Scott. 81-59, Orlando. Underneath, Adam Keefe had it blocked. Willis picked up the loose ball. The putback by Kevin gives him 12. But it's still a 20-point Magic lead.
Well, Bobby Weiss went to the passing game that time. He got some good ball movement, got the ball inside. Adam Keefe got the shot blocked. Kevin Willis was there to tip it back in.
Tolbert had almost an open path to the basket. Dwayne Farrell committing his third. Just to show you how poorly the Hawks have shot the ball. Farrell having a good night. He has scored 16 points. He's hitting 75% from the field. The rest of the Hawks, 28% from the field. Take away Farrell, Hawks are shooting 28% on the night.
Well, you know, I'm not so sure, you know, if they don't need to go see the movie Leap of Faith or have Elmer Gantry come in here and try to fire them up or something. But this is a team that's in a serious lethargy, and they've got to pull themselves out of it. I'm not sure that, you know, you can put the responsibility on the coach or anyone else in this particular instance. I mean, there's no reason. They're coming off of a nice win against Miami. They should feel good about themselves. And
in fact, they've actually played a little better on the road this year. Their record on the road, just one game under 500, 5-6. That's very respectable. Here at home, a loss tonight, and they're right at 500, 6-6. And that's not real good for a home record. Two more for Dwayne Farrell.
And a very nice little drop pass inside by Adam Keefe, the rookie.
18 points now for Farrell, just one away from his season high. His career high is 27. But it's 83-63, Magic. Under a minute to go now in the third. Tolbert got it back. Scott for three.
Hello. Hello. I can shoot 48 from here. Come guard me.
A 28-point night so far for Scott. Snoop Graham joins the growing list of Hawks who have not been able to hit an outside jumper tonight.
Let's watch Dwayne Farrell work against Shaquille O'Neal. Oh, bang! Hello. Oh, bang again. Gets it home, though. The one Atlanta Hawk that's productive.
Skiles around the pick set by Tolbert. Nice feed to Shaquille O'Neal.
And look at Scott Skiles. He is happy.
The Magic are doing it.
Watch Scotty Skiles here. Watch Scotty Skiles. Nice penetration. Sees the floor. Oh, a no look to Shaquille. Sweet finish, and Skiles is very, very happy. A no look. Gotta love it.
And Shaquille now with 12 points. His first trip to the free throw line. This is one area he has having some trouble with. He's only hitting 55% from the line for the season, but he makes that first effort tonight. 13 points for Shaquille. Unbelievable 26-point Orlando lead.
Well, it's great to see a basketball player take joy in the assist. None greater than the great Magic Johnson, who used to take such joy and put that smile on when he got an assist. Scott Skiles likes the two.
3 points for Kevin Willis. The only time the Hawks seem to be able to hit one of those is when time is running out. That's 2 quarters in a row they've beaten the buzzer, but they're down by 23 heading for the final quarter.
Nice penetration, leaves Kevin Willis wide open. Scott Skiles rotates over, but not enough size, knocks down to 3. Maybe he can fire his team up to go into the 4th quarter.
It's a timepiece. It's a breath spray, the new Breath Spray 9000.
While some watchmakers brag about their new inventions, Loris creates practical watches like the Vector, a digital compass built into a precision chronograph. Stick with Loris, the only time worth keeping.
What was it like to compose with Mozart? Pick up the Mozart Musical Biography CDI and capture the experience on your television with the Philips Imagination Machine.
As a truck company for 90 years, we understand the value of a strong frame. A reassuring strength for towing, whether you're on road or off road. GMC Truck, the strength of experience.
The one with the action. The one with the heat.
You need to stop thinking with your trigger finger and use your brain.
The one with the power.
It's all about survival.
Trespass. Rated R. Starts Friday at theaters everywhere.
This is beautiful.
How much?
Pulsar?
Pulsar.
I think he wants your watch.
Some things in life are worth far more than they cost. No thank you. Pulsar, there's no time like it.
If you want a beer that drinks easy like a light and has real draft taste, why not make a change? For the better. Refreshingly different, but dry. Bud Dry is one beer that drinks easy like a light and has real draft taste. So why not come around to something refreshingly different? Try Bud Dry.
It is 89-66, Orlando up by 23 with 1 quarter to go here. That's the standing of the Atlanta Hawks for the year. 23rd in opponent's field goal percentage. They let up a lot of easy baskets, and that's been the case again tonight. Orlando shooting the ball very well.
Well, a lot of coaches think that's one of the most important stats that you can consider, because that is a measure of how you come out and play defense on a nightly basis. And it also is a thing that you can control. I mean, you don't have to make shots. You see Atlanta trying to get back in this game, extending their defense, putting on a little 1-2-1-1 press.
And that is coming right after a pretty good defensive effort last night against the Miami Heat. On the road, nonetheless. Now you come home, hoping to get a little momentum going. And this has been one of the worst performances of the season right now for the Hawks. Down by 23. Look at that.
Oh,
feed
nice
by
pass.
Shaquille O'Neal to Nick Anderson. He has 15 points. Another assist for Shaquille. And the lead back up to 25.
A look away.
You know, a lot of blowout games at home, the crowd leaves. They're not leaving this one. They're having fun watching the opponents play.
Here's the multi-talented Shaquille O'Neal. The real deal. The unreal deal. Look at that pass.
This got called for his 3rd personal. Adam Keefe at the line. Looking for his first point of the night. Gets it. The rookie out of Stanford, averaging just over 6 points, just under 5 rebounds a game. Has 2 on the night. 91-68. Now some backcourt pressure. Skiles gets it across to Anderson. Anderson in the paint. Look at that shot. 17 points now for Nick Anderson. The lead back up to 25.
I can remember talking to Lou Henson when Nick Anderson was in the draft. And he said, this guy can get his shot as well as anyone I've ever coached. And watch this move. That is hang time cleverness with a little slice of touch.
Meanwhile, the Hawks have just turned the ball over again. Offensive foul called against Adam Keefe. That's 14 turnovers for Atlanta. Jeff Turner is checked back in, draws the double team. Down to 4 seconds left to shoot it. And Skiles drills another three-pointer. That's his second three of the night. He's hit for 16 points tonight. He's averaging right at 15 a game. Snoop Graham trying the three, couldn't get it. Skiles the rebound. The route goes on. 96-28. Orlando can build the lead to 30 and do.
When he ducks his head, turns his shoulders, and gives you 300 pounds, you have no choice but to move out of the way, and he takes a 1-inch shot.
Orlando by 30. Dwayne Farrell missed the jam. Dennis Scott having a big night. And we're going to get an offensive foul call this time. Scott got a little too creative.
Well, Scott Skiles is providing leadership for this team. Last year, you know, he provided a lot of scoring. They needed it. In the month of November, he was averaging 7.9 assists. But in December, he's got his assists up to almost 11, Pete, 10.9.
I don't know if you just caught this or not, but Scott Skiles just turned over here and gave us a look like, I don't believe this is happening either. 98-68 Magic. Wiley trying a three. Nope. And the rebound pulled away by Donald Royal.
You know, when I had Skiles in Indiana, he'd come to us from the Milwaukee Bucks, and he had the back problem. So it took him a while to get his shooting touch, but the last 32 games of that half a year that I took over, he played really well. But then we lost him in the expansion draft, and that's really been his good fortune. He's gone down and become a star at Orlando. He signed a $2 million a year contract for multi-years, and now he's also the darling of the community and a very valuable leader of this team.
The illegal D call against Atlanta. Second call against the Hawks tonight. Technical foul. Skiles, who is 7th in the league in free throw shooting, right at 90%, hits it. It's a 31-point lead. A 33-point lead. Skiles has 19. A humiliating night for the Atlanta Hawks.
Well, hey, you know, you just have to understand it. You know, you're a professional. The lights go on. You got to come out here and crank it up. That's what you're paid to do, and you got to do it.
Another block by Shaquille.
You know, the difficult job for Bobby Weiss will be trying to get a team to come back after this. Look at Shaquille. There's that explosiveness that we're talking about. He just sort of elevates like he's shot from a cannon.
He has matched his season average with 4 block shots tonight, now has 5. Skiles double teamed and a whistle against the Hawks. And a foul call against Snoop Graham, his 3rd.
Now we're going to watch the second block in less than 30 seconds by Shaquille O'Neal, but watch this one. On the way down, times it.
And Shaquille ranking number 2 in the league, only behind Hakeem Olajuwon of Houston. He is 2nd in the league in rebounding, only behind Dennis Rodman of Detroit. And now the little jump hook falls short. Adam Keefe pulls away the rebound for Atlanta. The Hawks, by the way, still looking for their first field goal in this 4th quarter. Still looking. Skiles came up short, thought he got fouled. No whistle, though. It's getting a little ragged now. And Anderson and Foster collide. The foul is going to be, no, they're going to call it jump ball.
Well, you know, give Greg Foster a pat on the back because he's got a little fire in him. A good physical challenge goes in there, gets the jump ball.
How many times do you see a visiting player exit the court and get an ovation from the home crowd. That just happened to Shaquille O'Neal as he went to the bench. Greg Kite checking in. A lot of fans right behind the Orlando bench gave him a standing O.
Well, that's exactly, Pete, excuse me, Pete, that's exactly what Shaquille O'Neal says that he wants. He wants to be like Michael Jordan, and he wants to be cheered in the away arenas. That's a tall order, but it looks like it's beginning for him.
He has taken that first step. Jeff Turner now with 8 points. A 35-point Orlando lead. The Hawks basket has had a lid on it all night long. Adam Keefe going over Anderson, got fouled by Nick. His third.
Nick Anderson will fool you. He's got that powerful build, and you don't realize that he's got such good jumping ability, and he's a decent shot blocker himself.
At the line, Adam Keefe. We can hear fans behind us. We can hear their voices, individual voices, and we've heard 3 or 4 of the same comments in the last minute. Unbelievable, they're saying. This is unbelievable. This is happening here at home.
Well, it does happen, and you know, I can't say that it's never happened to me, because it has happened. It's just one of those things that, you know, that you try to fight your way through. I usually would get a technical. That was my style, or I would try to fire my team up, or I'd put in a small unit, or I would press, or I would try to scramble, start a fight, anything to get some life into your team.
Still 7.5 minutes to go. Could get a lot worse. And it's starting to.
Well, they're going to play Charlotte next. That's another expansion team. Bobby Weiss has got a tall order. He's got to go into that locker room and look into their faces, look into their eyes, and he's got to say the right things. And unfortunately, you know, whether it's his nature or not, I think tonight he's got to give them an Elmer Gantry. He's got to say, you got to take a hard look at yourselves. I can only do so much. I can put you out there. I can't control your energy levels. There's really no excuse for this.
It took 4 minutes and 48 seconds of this fourth quarter before the Hawks got that first field goal from Travis Mays. And with 7 minutes to go now, a 35-point Orlando lead. The Hawks' lowest output of the year, 82 points. They're still 12 away from it. Adam Keefe will take the jumper over Turner. Boy, it's just unbelievable that nobody can hit one of those for Atlanta. Timeout, Atlanta.
Deep in the heart of Zaire, that's where Sarah, Becca, and Elijah are growing up. Their parents have chosen this life for an unprecedented research study. National Geographic Explorer premieres 9 Eastern Sunday on TBS.
A contract can make you rich. The fans can make you famous. The press can make you a superstar. And the championship ring can make you immortal. But only the love can make you a player. You got the love.
Run it back.
NBA Tuesday on TNT. The fast shooting Warriors are about to discover what makes the West wild. Shootout in Phoenix with Big Bad Barkley. Warriors, Suns, Tuesday at 8 on TNT.
It's hot. It's spicy. It sizzles. It's the new hot-looking, hot-blooded Ford Ranger. The 1993 Ford Ranger. It's the hottest thing to hit America since the chili pepper.
Ford trucks, the best.
Here's tonight's Dutch Boy in the paint, and Orlando, which is leading it by 35, have dominated virtually every category, including in the paint. Shaquille with 5 blocks tonight, 15 points. We're going to see a lot of the bench playing now.
Now, I talked about those intangible things that he does for Shaquille O'Neal does for this team in the way of leadership off the court. You heard about the situation where there was a bus accident where some kids were hurt and they were all in the hospital. He read about it. He goes to the hospital to visit these kids, but he makes sure there are no reporters there. I mean, that's something special.
Wiley got fouled from behind by Anthony Bowie, who was checked in for the first time tonight. And at the free throw line will be Marlon Wiley.
You know, the other Shaquille story that I really like is the one where they were having a practice and there was a young man sitting in the stands with no shoes on and a t-shirt, some shorts, watching the practice. Shaquille goes over to him and says, "Where are your shoes?" And he says, "Oh, I left my shoes at home." And he says, "Wait a minute." He says, "You didn't leave your shoes at home." He said, "You should be in school. Why aren't you in school?" He goes, "Well, I want to be a basketball player like you." He says, "You want to be a basketball player?" He says, "Go to school
and
he
pass
said,
and go play."
Right. No pass, no play. Guy's breaking molds.
105-72 Orlando. We've got still over 6 minutes to go on the night. And with Shaquille now a member of the Orlando Magic, an entirely different way of life for Matt Guokas as he takes this Orlando Magic team around the NBA. I think that Matty feels anytime he walks into any building anywhere, he's got a chance to win that game, and that certainly was not the case the first 3 years for this franchise.
Well, the Orlando Magic, you know, much like any team, especially an expansion team, you know, is going to have its problems. And they did have some problems when they lost 5 in a row, and they're still not having a great December. They've got to win, as I mentioned earlier, they've got to win the 5 remaining games in December to have a winning month in this month, where they're 8 and 45, you know, since their inception in the league.
Royal over Foster. And the foul's going to be called against Greg Foster, his third. The correction is 4th personal. And at the line, Donald Royal. We take a look at some other scores around the NBA. Busy night tonight. There's the Hawks' next opponent, Charlotte, winning on the road right now in Washington. Cleveland beating Utah. Cavaliers beginning to play a little bit better. Philadelphia leading Chicago. Maybe Saturday night's the one night of the week that the 76ers are going to play consistently well. They beat the Hawks here last Saturday.
Well, they had a strange strategy, Pete, when they just packed that lane and said, take all the outside jumpers you want. But it worked. Doug Moe told me before the game that's what he was going to do. And indeed he did, and it was effective.
Hawks continue to launch those threes, and not many of them falling for Atlanta. Hawks still have only 1 field goal in the quarter and trail by 35. Ball still belongs to the Magic. Now Laterio Green checking in, and Scott Skiles gets the rest of the night off.
Well, very seldom do you see Scott Skiles make a bad decision, but there was a interesting mismatch inside that he didn't read. Greg Kite had Marlon Wiley pinned on his back, and Scotty missed him, took the drive.
Jeff Turner from the corner. He is hit for 12 points. And it's a 37-point Orlando lead.
Well, I can see why Jeff Turner is a high percentage shooter. He selects his shots very carefully. He's an outstanding standstill jumper, and he never takes a shot that he doesn't have a good chance of making.
And once again, the Hawks turn the ball over. This has been one of those nights when absolutely nothing has gone well for Atlanta. There hasn't even been any kind of a little run. Orlando grabbing the lead in the first quarter and then just gradually expanding it as this game has gone on. Marlon Wiley called for his first personal. We mentioned the next Hawks game will be Tuesday night against the Charlotte Hornets. That'll be on Sports South. Art Ekman, Mike Glenn will have all the action for you beginning 7:30 Eastern time. Hawks in a little string of games right now where they're playing all these expansion teams. They just got through with Miami last night.
Well, it's not like it used to be. You know, it used to be when you played an expansion team, you know, you had a chance to really pad your schedule. It's not the case anymore. All of the expansion teams, with the exception of Minnesota and Dallas, which is now an expansion team.
Stacey Augmon now at 9. Well, when expansion first came along for these 4 new entries a few years back, 5 years ago, I think it was Pat Williams who said, who do you see as the team of the 90s? He said, it'll be Orlando, it'll be Miami, and it'll be Charlotte, it'll be Minnesota, because they'll be getting all those first-round draft picks for those early years. And as they develop, they're going to be pretty good ball clubs, and that's happening with Orlando right now.
Well, the one team that's really going south right now is the Miami Heat. But, you know, they're missing Steve Smith. They're missing John Sally right now. Ronnie Cycli's been out in and out of the lineup, and they're struggling. And if they get all the pieces put together, they did make the playoffs. They had the most meteoric rise of all of the expansion teams. And if they get these guys back, they can make a run and be competitive for a playoff spot. Not so with Minnesota. Minnesota really only has 4 solid players right now in Doug West and Christian Leitner and Chuck Person and Michael Williams, and that's the core of their team that they're going to have to build around.
Most lopsided loss ever at home for an Atlanta Hawks team came to the Chicago Bulls back in March of '91. They lost by 35. They're down now by 38. Ogman over Kite. Stacey Ogman has scored 14 tonight.
You know, Stacey Ogman has been a bit of a mystery lately, Pete. You know, he's a player that we think, you know, you and I agree, he has all the tools, maybe except for that perimeter jump shot.
But he's worked on that, and that's improved.
And his free throw shooting has dramatically improved. He's shooting 75%. He shot 60-some last year, low 60s. And he's the kind of guy that looks like he can be, an all-star someday. However, he has had this, as you see, a breakaway there by Anthony Bowie, a nice reverse dunk. Stacey Ogman is in the doldrums, and he's been there for like half a dozen games. He's got to learn to bust out of these things. It looks like he's got some things on his mind.
There's a steal by Bowie. Laterial Green, watch him elevate. I'll tell you what, the Hawks in danger of suffering their most humiliating loss at home in their history. They are down now by 40 points. Ogman gets it back to 38. 119-81.
2 minutes, less than 2 minutes in the quarter.
Under 2 minutes mercifully to go now in this one.
There's that man again, Jeff Turner, with a wide open warm-up jump shot, measured it and made it.
And now has 14, and the lead back up to 40. You heard me right, 40. And a chance to expand it. And we're going to get a foul call against Anthony Bowie and a timeout called by Orlando.